What's up everybody? Today we have an unboxing. We're going to unbox basically everything here, minus probably the welder. I'm going to do a full video on that. But as you can tell, I have a brand new TIG welder that we're going to dig into in the future so that I can do like roll cage stuff, intercooler piping, stainless exhaust, and do it properly, not just with the MIG welder that I have downstairs. So I have just a regular 110 MIG welder that can do basically everything that you need minus aluminum, but this I'm going to be able to do AC TIG aluminum. I just need to get a welding tank and a cart for this so that I can move it around in the garage a little bit easier. I want to be able to double stack and have the MIG welder and the TIG together with the tanks that I need on it. So that's going to be really exciting, really cool to use. I'm looking forward to getting a little bit more experience with TIG. I have some basic experience doing some stuff, but to be able to dig into this and show you guys, you know, the growth of TIG welding as well, that's going to be really exciting for me and hopefully for you guys as well. So continuing on with some tools, going from the TIG welder, we're going to move on to some of these tools that I purchased for the BMW build so that I just have this stuff. I've rented stuff, I've used and borrowed stuff from other people. Now I just have some of this stuff, you know, it's going to be in my toolbox. I don't have to worry about borrowing anything. So starting off, we have a brand new corded drill that's going to be used for honing the cylinders. I'm going to try and do everything I can by myself here in the garage, maybe minus like decking the block and the head. I don't have the machining type of stuff for that here. Maybe in the future, if I have a full-on shop, I can do something like that. But for the basic stuff, just to get an OEM rebuild and refresh on the engine, this is gonna work. Plus I have, you know, a new stone hone, and then I'm gonna get a ball hone as well, just to make sure the cross hatching is good in cylinders. So those two go together. Then this is a variable speed. You wanna hold a specific RPM when you're doing cylinder honing. We basically just have to clean the cylinders because there's just a little bit of surface rust. We're not trying to bore that engine out at all, just trying to give it a refresh. Moving on, we need to be able to maintain a certain diameter or, you know, size of that cylinder. We don't want to go too crazy and have to get an upgraded piston or rings. I do want to get fresh rings for the engine. I'm going to be going over parts and stuff for that in just a minute, but we have a caliper tool. We can measure, you know, basically any size that we need with stuff. I've never had one of these for myself before. I've just borrowed things. Now I have one. Relatively cheap to get one of these. You can get them on Amazon. Anything other locations like that, you can get them at Harbor Freight as well. I chose Amazon for a lot of this stuff just because it's all in one place and you don't need to go super crazy with big name brand parts or tools for the most part. I also got a dial indicator. So a dial indicator is meant for checking thrust of your crankshaft so that, you know, you have end play and you have a certain amount of movement allowed or tolerance that the crankshaft can kind of go back and forth a little bit. With clutch kicking and stuff, with drifting, you want to make sure those tolerances are pretty relatively like where you need them to be. So we have that tool now so that we can measure that. We want this OEM refresh and rebuild to go together real nice and smooth, and we don't want to have, you know, engine failures because of something I did wrong, not measuring tolerances properly. Now I have a piston ring compressor set so that I can, you know, get pistons and the rings back into the cylinders after taking them out and getting a refresh on that. So you need that kind of stuff. You don't want to be sitting there trying to squeeze piston rings into the cylinder with the piston when you're putting it back together. That makes it really easy. And then I also picked up a small die grinder just so that I have one for other tool related needs as well. But I'm going to be using that for like basic port and polish on the BMW cylinder head. They're kind of carboned up, and to be able to run that into the cylinders and get all that carbon stuff out just for better performance, I'm going to do that myself. If you do porting at like a machine shop, that can get very costly very fast. So I'm going to do just basic stuff myself, and I'll do a video later on with that as well so you guys can see the process of a port and polish on a cylinder head. I also got feeler gauges because when you do piston rings, you need to file those and get those sized right for the cylinder size. And I have a piston ring filer here as well. Pretty self-explanatory to use. I'll show how to use that when I get to that part of the engine build, but you need a filer and feeler gauges so you test each piston ring in the cylinder and make sure you have a specific ring gap for whatever you're doing. I'm going to be gapping the piston rings for potential boost in the future, just so it's done, ready to go, and we don't have to open up the engine and redo that at that time. So basically going to be building the engine for boost, but minus pistons and rods. These stock internals can hold some boost, and we're probably going to try and shoot for that 450-500 on stock internals. If that engine fails at that point, we're then going to do pistons and rods, but I'm not going to worry about that at that time. I've heard of a lot of different stories where people run 800, 850 on stock internals for quite a long time reliably. I'm not going to go that crazy with pistons and rods or like stock piston and rod setups. We're just going to go kind of a mild 450-500. With these basic tools, I should be able to build a pretty reliable engine at the power level that I'm looking for. All right, now we are going to get into all of the engine parts. Everything, or the majority of the parts, were purchased through FCP Euro, minus a few parts that were from Drift HQ. Just pricing, looking at pricing a little differently here and there. Some things there are duplicates of, because of the kits that are purchased. When you do like a Vanos rebuild kit, there's a gasket in here that's the same as another gasket that was purchased in, say, the front timing cover gasket set. So there is some duplicates that way, and I ended up with 2 front crankshaft seals just because of the kits that you buy. One came in the timing set and another one I purchased on its own. Didn't realize that some of these parts came with them, but you know, if you buy one set here and one set here and they both have the same gasket, what are you supposed to do with that? You know, I've tried to make it as easy and simple as I could by buying sets of things so that everything is kind of, you know, like the Vanos rebuild kit that has all the bearings and seals that you need for your Vanos system, and then, you know, your timing cover and front water pump seals and stuff like that. There's sets for those as well. And then I have everything that you would need for oil, O-rings, seals, gaskets, and everything like that for the front, inside the engine, and in the head as well. There's some components that you should replace regularly on BMWs, such as like the water thermostat neck that is plastic and can overheat and get brittle. So there's a brand new one of those. I also got fresh bearings for the crank and for the piston rods. So we have fresh bearings for those. So everything is nice and fresh. Should be all set to go with stock internals with fresh bearings. I also got fresh head studs. They're just OEM. You don't really need to go aftermarket unless you're boosting right away. We're trying to go as simple as we can with this build to start out with, because this first engine I'm using was the original being taken out, and it does have some flaws to the internals. So we're trying to just do an experiment with all OEM replacement parts and pieces to the inside so that we can have an easy, reliable running NA engine to start out with. So we have a good base, we can learn the chassis, learn the engine, and make sure that the build goes together nice and smooth. So we also have oil pump gasket, we got the head gasket underneath that, we have valve cover gasket, we have intake manifold gasket, exhaust manifold gasket, we got the timing chain tensioners, the cylinders, springs, gaskets, you know, we have new guides for the timing chain, we have valve seals that we're gonna do. We're gonna do a lot of head work on this, make sure it's all sealed up. We have the differential seals, we have rear oil pan gaskets, we have water pump gaskets, we have another water pump gasket. There's a couple of different ones on there. And then this is a duplicate of a water pump gasket by mistake because there was sets. And like I'm saying, we got seal, we got a seal, O-ring, we got valve cover, little grommets and things like that. So we have basically everything we need for a complete overhaul, minus like coil packs or injectors, a full fuel rail. That stuff was all good on the engine, so we're not replacing things like that. Throttle body's good, the mass airflow sensor's good, the crank sensor's all good, but we got new gaskets and O-rings for those. Cam sensors and stuff, those are all still in good condition. We got all the seals and gaskets for those as well. So everything here is basically to reseal the engine, get a fresh build so that it's all ready to go. Hopefully for the drift season. If we don't get it right away, I'm gonna drive the Miata for probably the majority of the season anyways, and maybe by the 5K halfway through the season or a little bit later, I can have the BMW to a point where I can do some testing at least because I want to be able to get this running and driving this year. It might not be to a competition level just yet, but to be able to start learning the chassis and getting that stuff set up. That's my goal anyways. So we'll see how far we get with this type of a rebuild. It's gonna take a little bit of time. I don't wanna rush getting the engine back together and miss a step or have something fail because I was trying to rush getting it together. So we're gonna do little bits at a part, probably do the piston rod crank, all the bearings and stuff right away, do that in its own video, get everything sealed up on the bottom side, and then move into more of the middle of the engine where all the water pump and timing stuff is, and then we'll do all the head stuff after that. You know, kind of start at the bottom, go up from there and get the engine fully rebuilt. And then we will be doing some chassis stuff, you know, in the engine build process as well. So it's not just gonna streamline all the engine. We'll jump around a little bit with this chassis, trying to get everything, you know, in order and get everything ready to go. Some things that I didn't mention was like the shifter rebuild, some stuff that I didn't get purchased because it wasn't actually on sale during Black Friday was an actual shifter for the ZF transmission. The OEM shifter is basically loose in there. I want to get one that hard mounts to the tunnel so it's more precise shifting with that gearbox. There's some other things for the differential that aren't purchased yet. Some of the other diff seals. This is just a front pinion seal. I didn't get the, you know, axle output shaft seals yet. I also need to get some more hardware and things for mounting things. And then all of the angle kit stuff, none of that's purchased yet because the car's not even running. I still need to get a roll cage purchased or figured out for that as well. Just trying to get everything lined up and keep it at kind of a low budget so that you guys can see this can be, you can attain this type of drift car at a lower budget. You don't have to go super crazy 100,000, 200,000 pro build. You can get a grassroots drift car to compete at a high level with OEM replacement parts and have it be a reliable car that you can just go out and run doors with, you know, day in and day out. All you got to do is oil changes and add fuel, and you can maintain a car and keep it reliable. So that's what we're kind of looking at for the engine build. That's all these parts. Just wanted to get a good update for the engine build for you guys so you can kind of see the plans going forward for the 2026 season. And yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. And hopefully you guys stick around for all this content coming up because there's going to be a lot of technical stuff going on with this engine build. If you like this kind of content, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. We got tons of stuff coming up. Thanks for watching.